You know the feeling. That moment when you have great plans, an important to-do list, but an invisible force pushes you to the couch, to social media, or to any distraction other than what you need to do. Procrastination isn't just laziness. It's a silent thief that steals your time, your potential, and your confidence, leaving you with a sense of shame and regret. It makes your ideal life always a project for tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. Miyamoto Musashi, the undefeated warrior, knew that hesitation is a man's greatest weakness. In a duel, a second delay means death. Musashi's life wasn't just a series of victories, but a relentless lesson in immediate action. He didn't postpone decisions. He didn't negotiate with laziness. He saw the world as a battlefield, where every lost moment was an opportunity for the enemy. And his greatest enemy wasn't on the outside, but within himself. What you are about to learn isn't about how to get motivated, but about how to become a machine of action. We will disarm the tactics of procrastination and give you the mental tools to cut through inertia at its root. Prepare to face your internal enemy and become the unstoppable force you were born to be. The first lesson is the most important: the art of acting without a second thought. Musashi believed that hesitation was death. The warrior who doubts his next move has already been defeated. The man who postpones a task is like a samurai who refuses to draw his sword. He is in a state of indecision that drains his energy and leaves him vulnerable. Procrastination isn't a lack of will. It is a hesitation to act. A warrior's discipline is the ability to act the instant the need arises without a second thought. In a duel, Musashi's first strike was often his last. He acted with a speed and decisiveness that left his opponents paralyzed. His mind and body were one, without the friction of doubt. In modern life, your procrastination is your hesitation. Your inability to start a project, make a difficult call, or get up to work out is the friction that stops you from moving forward. To defeat procrastination, train your mind to act immediately. When the idea to do a task arises, start it immediately, even if it's for just 30 seconds. Don't negotiate. Don't overanalyze. Just begin. This small act of instant action is the first cut at the root of hesitation. It's the first step to freeing yourself from your internal enemy. The undisciplined man is a master at making excuses. He blames the weather, his mood, lack of energy, or external circumstances. He puts himself in the role of a victim, and by doing so, gives away his power. Musashi had no room for excuses. He took responsibility for every outcome, every decision, every failure, and every victory. For him, excuses were a form of cowardice. The warrior knows that the battlefield is what it is, with all its difficulties. He doesn't complain about the uneven ground or the rain. He adapts his strategy and fights. Procrastination feeds on excuses. When you say, "I don't feel motivated," you are making an excuse for inertia. You are releasing yourself from responsibility and becoming a prisoner of your own mindset. To defeat excuses, embrace total responsibility. When you fail to do something, say, "I didn't do it," instead of, "I couldn't do it." Accept that you have the power to choose your actions, regardless of how you feel. By doing this, you are taking full control of your life, and a warrior's mind cannot be dominated by excuses. Procrastination lives in the past and the future. It tells you that you will start tomorrow or makes you feel guilty about what you didn't do yesterday. The samurai, on the other hand, lived and fought in the present. The duel happens now. Victory happens now. The only thing that matters is the action of the moment. The past is history, and the future is unknown. The warrior focuses all his energy on the now. Procrastination is the inability to commit to the present. When you postpone a task, you are transferring the burden to your future self, who doesn't even exist yet. This mindset creates anxiety and a never-ending cycle of putting things off. Musashi teaches us that power resides in the present. This is where decisions are made, strikes are delivered, and victories are won. To defeat procrastination, bring your mind back to the present. When you feel tempted to postpone, ask yourself, what can I do now to move forward? Don't worry about the end. Don't worry about the difficulty. Just focus on what is in front of you. This is the only moment you have the power to act. Most people wait for motivation to act. They want to feel inspired before they begin. But motivation is an emotion, and emotions are fleeting. Musashi didn't depend on motivation. He depended on a routine. His discipline was a daily practice, a ritual he followed regardless of how he felt. He didn't train when he felt like it. He trained every day. The warrior is not moved by feeling, but by duty. Routine is discipline that has become a habit. It is your armor against inertia. When procrastination tries to convince you to stay in bed, your routine will pull you into your day. Routine eliminates the need to make decisions every day, making action automatic. To build this armor, establish a daily routine and follow it without negotiation. Set times to work, train, and rest. Don't worry about feeling like it. Just do it. Every day you follow your routine, you are teaching your brain that action's the rule, not the exception. Procrastination often starts before you even sit down to work. It's the result of a task that seems too big, too complex. Musashi knew that victory in a duel was often decided before the swords crossed. He studied his opponent, planned his strategy, and visualized victory. Preparation was his secret weapon. A warrior who doesn't prepare enters the battle at a disadvantage. Similarly, a man who tries to start a complex task without a plan is already setting himself up to procrastinate. He feels overwhelmed, doesn't know where to start, and so he postpones. The discipline of preparing defeats procrastination before it even has a chance. To apply this, break down your big tasks into small steps. Instead of thinking, I have to write a book, think, I have to write the first page. With every step you define, the task becomes less intimidating and more manageable. Preparation is not just an act of discipline, but a direct attack on the root of procrastination. Procrastination is often masked as perfectionism. I can't start now because it's not perfect. I need more time, more research. The pursuit of perfection is one of the most poisonous forms of procrastination. The warrior doesn't seek the perfect strike. He seeks the effective one. He knows that an imperfect strike in action is always better than a perfect strike in his mind. Perfectionism is fear disguised as a virtue. It is the fear of failing, of not being good enough. The samurai knew that his goal was not perfection, but victory. Perfection is an enemy that stops you from starting, that leaves you paralyzed in your search for an ideal that doesn't exist. To defeat perfectionism, adopt the done is better than perfect mindset. Understand that action, in and of itself, is your greatest progress. Start with a draft. Do a good enough job. You can improve it later, but you can only improve what already exists. Action itself is your greatest victory against perfectionism. Every important task has a moment of discomfort, be it the boredom of a repetitive job, the frustration of a difficult problem, or the fear of something new. Procrastination is your brain trying to protect you from this discomfort. It tells you to do something easy and pleasurable instead of facing the difficulty. Musashi saw discomfort as a sign of growth. He sought it out. A warrior who runs from the discomfort of rigorous training will never be ready for battle. Discomfort was a furnace that forged his will. He put himself in difficult situations to strengthen his mind and body. He knew that the temporary pain of effort is better than the regret of a life without purpose. To defeat procrastination, identify the moment of discomfort in your task and face it head-on. When you feel tempted to stop, tell yourself, I will endure this for just 5 more minutes. Accept that the task will be difficult, and embrace the difficulty as a sign that you are growing. The man who faces discomfort becomes an unbreakable force. Musashi knew that inertia is hard to break. The hardest part of a duel isn't the 10th strike, but the first. It's the act of drawing the sword, of advancing toward danger. Procrastination is inertia. It's the force that keeps you in place. Victory over procrastination is won with the first strike. The man who sits down to work and can't get started is paralyzed by the weight of what needs to be done. He is fighting the inertia of inaction. Your greatest victory will be simply the act of beginning. Once you take the first step, inertia begins to work in your favor. Movement generates more movement, and action generates more action. To apply this lesson, don't worry about the end of the task, just the beginning. Act. Open the document. Make the first call. Say the first word. The goal isn't to finish, but to start. The first strike is the most important. because it's the one that puts you on the path. And once you are in motion, you can build a habit. A warrior doesn't enter battle with doubts. He enters with a clear vision of victory. He visualizes the final result as win and fights with the purpose of achieving it. Procrastination, on the other hand, is a focus on fear, on the obstacle, on the difficulty. It makes you look at what's stopping you instead of looking at what you are building. The warrior's gaze is a discipline of focusing on the outcome, of visualizing success. It's the belief that you will succeed and that the work you are doing now is what will get you there. When procrastination tries to convince you to stop, your vision of the future will be your fuel. To apply this, before you start a task, spend 30 seconds visualizing it as complete. Visualize yourself succeeding, feeling the satisfaction of a job well done. This simple act of visualization creates a bridge between your desire and your action and gives you the internal motivation to move forward. Procrastination is a child of indecision. The man who doesn't know what he wants gets lost in distractions because he has no clear goal. Musashi was a master of decision. He knew exactly what he wanted and acted with a relentless speed to get it. For him, decision was an act of discipline. The modern man is overwhelmed with choices, which leads to analysis paralysis. He spends hours deciding what to do instead of doing something. Procrastination takes advantage of this indecision. It tells you that you have time, that you can decide later. But the warrior knows that every moment of indecision is a moment of weakness. To defeat procrastination, make decisions quickly. Decide what you're going to do and do it. Don't waste time choosing the best path. Just start walking. The discipline of decision is your greatest weapon against procrastination because it keeps you in motion and makes you an unstoppable force. You started this video feeling like a prisoner of procrastination, paralyzed by an invisible force. But now, you understand that procrastination isn't a lack of will, but a lack of discipline to act. You have learned to cut through hesitation, to embrace responsibility, to live in the present, and to fight against perfectionism. Musashi didn't fight procrastination with motivational speeches. He fought it with action. He gave us a manual on how to become a mental warrior who doesn't postpone, doesn't make excuses, and doesn't hesitate. Your greatest victory won't be finishing a task, but your ability to start. Now it's your turn. Apply these lessons. Start fighting procrastination today, one small act at a time. Every time you act instead of postpone, you are forging your will. Your life is a battlefield, and procrastination is your enemy. The time has come to draw your sword and win. You are no longer a slave to inertia. You are a warrior of action.